Just do it this way. Hey, what's up, YouTube? Welcome to Play It Paint Alive. Hope you guys are having a good Wednesday evening. And here we go with another one of these. So we're doing a batch paint tonight. And it's not going to be terribly exciting. But this is what I happen to be painting, and we haven't streamed for a little while here, so this is what we're painting. We're painting some Mirkwood Elves for the Middle-earth strategy battle game. And I'm just doing copper armor on this warrior here. I like using copper because it tends to cover pretty well, and it's actually pretty nice if you kind of want a darker look and then you highlight with a gold color. I think it looks pretty good with this sort of autumn effect that we have going here. So yeah, that's the plan for this evening. Is we're gonna batch paint a whole bunch of these. I don't know how many. I don't know if we're gonna finish tonight, but we should probably get a fair bit of work done here. All right. But basically, all I've done so far is just color block these models with the speed paints, and now we're going in and doing the actual sort of detail step of this process. Okay. So we'll jump around. We'll work through different areas here. There are really only two poses for these guys, so you'll only see two variations of these elves and how they're posed. It's kind of cool. I actually do kind of like this black on them, but we're going for an autumn theme. We're going for an autumn theme that they're going to add snow to this after these are done. So I'm not going to spend too much time on the basing because they're going to do the basing themselves. I'm just going to get them, get everything else painted up and ready to go. You can see it's actually not that slow of a process if you took the time to paint the stuff that's going to be metallic in black. That speeds up the process quite a bit, and it helps you kind of disguise mistakes too. Right? And that's kind of our goal for tonight, is to get through, we'll say we want to get through most of the initial layer painting tonight. Okay? So we're looking pretty good so far. Let me know if you have any questions, comments, threats. We are painting these Mirkwood Elves. Hey, what's up? Yeah, we're gonna move through these fairly quick. And as long as we're good with this color scheme, I can hold this color scheme for the rest of the army. Right? I like it because it is really of a highly autumn theme. And I think these elves look great in that sort of autumn theme. And if I go a little heavy over the detail, it's not the end of the world, because I can fix that pretty easily with the rest of this paint job. Okay. But these AK metallics, you can see they cover pretty quickly for just a brushed on metallic. It's got pretty good coverage. Right? I'm pretty happy with how quickly these cover. So here's the other sculpt. It's either holding it up or to the side. Those are your two sculpts here. We got about 15 of these total. So it's 8 of one sculpt and 7 of the other. I think there's only 7 of this sculpt and there's 8 of the other pose. Well, for infantry like this, massed infantry, you know, there are, even as kind of intricate as this design is, there's still certain things that you can shortcut to go a little bit faster when you're painting stuff like this, right? Okay. I guess that's the first one like that we're doing. But yeah, we're gonna get these done, and then I need to do a project for myself. I may either do my Deacon Blackfire stuff, so Derelict, or move over and start when Isengard stuff gets here. I can paint the Isengard stuff. But yeah, should be a nice quiet evening. I'm pretty happy about that considering how busy work has been. It's nice to just be able to kick back and get a little painting done. Yeah. Can honestly say I'm pretty happy with how these guys are looking. Okay. Just keep going. So yeah, this is AK Copper. What I like about this is it actually does what you imagine metallic paints to do, which is just kind of get down there and cover. But a lot of them don't actually do that. A lot of them, you know, the flakes just kind of sit on top and you get this clear resin material, and it looks terrible when you put it on. But this stuff covers really well. Right? If I really was just going for a copper look, this stuff would have just worked out absolutely fine for that. As it stands though, still looks pretty good. And it's going to give me the final result that I was hoping for anyway, so. But looking forward to seeing some more armies out there for Middle Earth in our local. It'll be fun when other people start getting their armies up and together. And we can have a good proper game day. Sometimes these big batches are a problem too. Just painting a big batch of 15 minis can be pretty rough. But yeah, see, metallics are going pretty quick. Normally I would do this, like, well, I should say, in years past, I would have leaned pretty hard on non-metallics to try to get me through this. But I don't know. I like using true metallics for certain ranges, especially fantasy ranges. I like using the true metallics. And part of that was finding the right metallic paints that I would enjoy using and get very comfortable with, that being the AK paints. They just do such a really good job on the brush. And you can airbrush these, but you will have to thin them. But they're pretty good out of the airbrush. No complaints from me. Okay. Just a couple left, and we're done with copper for a while here. And we'll move over to painting up the cloaks. You see the cloak just has that pallid bone speed wash on it, which is really good stuff. But again, shapes like that, you can see where it's like pooling and stuff like that. Despite my better efforts to try to remove all of that during drawing, you're going to run into instances where you didn't get it all, you didn't do the best job. Right? Okay. Cool. Feel like I missed a bunch on this model. We're good? All right. So again, black undercoat underneath your metallic. Also being careful about how I thin the metallic. I have really just enough water to help it flow. Right, because as you can see, a lot of the actual painting technique I'm using is it's like almost like an overbrush style technique, just to get the color down there. And I promise you we'll fix it. But for now, let's get that all down there. Let's get a better idea of what we're looking for on these. Okay. Yeah, pretty happy with that thus far. All right. So now I want to move over to the cloaks. And again, we're sticking with like a warmer theme than what I have on my Rivendell Elves are obviously they're winter themed, so they're very cold and desaturated. Looks like we have an idiot in the chat. Huh. Not even showing up on the other chat. That's cool. Can't really, hold on. Can't really ban someone that's actually not showing up in the uh, the actual YouTube chat. But it is going through to the chat app, as you can see. All right. Now, so we're gonna go with on the cloak. We're gonna go with uh, this color, ice yellow, which is quite nice. It's a really good warm color. Ivory you could use also. I didn't think I'd like ice yellow as as well for this, but it actually kind of does a better job of getting that. It actually hits the tone I really want on these, so it's pretty well. Russian chatbot. Yes, sir. What's up, Nelson? So we're gonna hit this cloak. Gotta get rid of all that stuff that pooled from the speed paint, right? What's interesting here is, even though it looks like I've covered it wet, when it dries, it will let some of that telegraph through, and that's kind of what we want. Okay. So we'll do the pants. We'll do underneath here. Right. Whoop. Actually did not get. Oof. This guy missing the copper. Total conclusion like never see before. What? This is what happens when you have a big batch paint. Sometimes things fall through the cracks. You gotta pick it up and fix it. Yeah, this guy's looking pretty cool. All right. So, continuing on the line here. I'm sure these double-bladed arms that these elves are using probably have a cool special rule to them. Right? Maybe something similar to the hand and a half sword. Him auto type. All good. All right. We're going to continue on down the line here. I think the main thing here is how cool is this going to look when it's all on the board together, you know? That's the one thing about playing these army-sized games. And I still am biased against army-sized games. I still have the same kind of biases I've had for years against them, having played them for, a good 10, 15 years. Um, the painting and hobby experience isn't nearly as nice as painting a bunch of characters, but, it's really nice is putting your force down, putting your fully painted, cohesive looking team on the board is always very satisfying thing to do. Right, so the beginning parts of the game, you have this cool army down and you have the highest hopes for it and you want it to brutalize everybody else. How often does that happen? Sometimes, every once in a while it does happen and it's a good feeling when it does. And then when it doesn't happen, that's kind of how I judge how enjoyable a game is how painful is it to lose a game and why, right? I often complain I don't like losing games due to bad dice rolling, right? Like Bushido. I had major complaints about Bushido because of how it just seems incredibly rough if you're getting outrolled in a head-to-head situation. Um, and Bushido is a tough loss because it's like a snowball effect. It isn't often just to sort of squeak to the finish line. Like you start losing models and the other guy just starts piling on, right? Using his extra activations to remove your AP, right? Generating more key than you and then stealing whatever little key you have left. And he probably eliminated your models before his for some reason, like he may have been more durable than you. He may have, you know, better rules than your models have rules, and now it gets compounded even worse as that game carries on. So, so like I said, Bushido, as cool a game as it is, and I still really enjoy playing it, don't get me wrong, as cool as a game as it can feel very oppressive to lose a game of Bushido. Where, let's see, would you consider MESBG as a snowball effect as well for losing miniatures and objectives? It can be. It seems like you can do that. Um, and there aren't like built-in comeback mechanics, and it is a D6 system. So right, so your odds tend to sway in factors of 16. So so that can be bad. That said, um, it does have a little bit of a snowball effect, but I don't feel it's as oppressive as Bushido because of the fact that Bushido, as you're winning, you're actively taking the opponent's AP away. that's that's the worst part of it, probably. And I like that it's a valid tactic. Like, I appreciate that, and they even explain it that way. Like, oh yeah, attacking a expensive model with a cheap model in Bushido is a great idea because you get to take their AP away, even if you don't win the fight, right? You're still dipping into the guy's AP, and okay, I can appreciate that at its face, but it also is a feels bad when you're already losing, and the guy walks up a 2 rice minion and takes the 20 rice thing that you had that just survived all that other crap, doesn't even get to use the little bit of AP you had left on the board, right? I don't feel Middle Earth is not. It is not a snowball effect like that. But I mean, it is a war game, and so all war games are kind of like that. As models are removed, you lose you lose your power and your ability to influence the board. But if you have 5 models left on the board in MESBG, you still have 5 models that can do stuff. The reason they have to have tireless, yeah, makes sense. If you're going to run tireless is such an incredibly good rule. It's basically a force multiplier. If you are being outnumbered, so it is a great, yeah, it's a great mechanic to have. Middle Earth, though, I've watched some kind of rough games of Middle Earth, and I'm sure I'm due for a rough game at some point where I can't get a 6, right? I may have better fight than my opponent across the board, but I just can't buy a 6, right? And and they're just throwing 6s like there's no tomorrow. Totally can see games like that in my future. I know that's going to happen. How bad is that going to be? Like, how crushing is that going to be? I feel like it can feel bad if you feel like from the start of the game you're on the back foot all the way through. I feel like that can be pretty oppressive. Like, you just couldn't get your dice out of the gate. And I can feel Middle Earth, yeah, it can give you an experience like that. I just don't think it's as bad to lose a game of Middle Earth. I don't know. It does. There are some. It's a very simple. The mechanics themselves are pretty simple, but there are those cool little piloting moves you've got in the form of heroic actions, and heroic actions and spell casting and that kind of stuff, which is pretty fun. So I don't think losing games of Middle Earth is going to feel as bad for me as some of the Bushido games I lost, where it's like you just go home, go in, because if you're losing a game of Bushido and you have just a couple of models left and the opponent has like 5 or 6 models still on the board, and you're like, okay, I just want to be able to use the AP of the 2 models I have left, and then you lose the initiative roll. Well, you are not going to get to use your AP. You'll get to use, at best, you'll get to use half your AP, but it's still not terribly likely. So, and this isn't meant to just bash Bushido. I just used it as an example for how do I judge games that I like and don't like. Middle Earth, for sure, is a pretty heavily dice-dependent game. It's, at least on paper, it's way more dice-dependent than I would ever care for. That's just looking at that objectively. Like, knowing how the mechanics of the dice rolling works and how often you need to do it and how critical it is to winning games, yeah, it's on paper not to my liking. So you just kind of have to accept. You kind of have to accept that chaos is part of the game for Middle Earth. And I've heard people say that Middle Earth is one of the more balanced games that they've ever played. And at first I thought that was really silly. Because I'm like, really? Because there's just so much dice rolling. And it's so dependent on dice. But that actually reinforces the point. Yeah, a huge part of this game is winning critical dice rolls. And, if not, failing that, getting close enough to be able to spend your might to tip the important rolls in your favor. Um, but it's a lot of dice rolls. It's a lot of dice rolls for a game of Middle Earth. And that's, to me, that pushes this game firmly in the, uh, more casual game for me. Plus, the measuring isn't terribly clean. Some of the rule wordings are weird. It's not without its idiosyncrasies. But, nevertheless, very entertaining game. Playing your fun themed armies is great. I do like that of all the GW games, these miniatures are the fastest ones to paint and turn around. They just make life easier for your average person that maybe doesn't have time to do all the painting that they wish they could. So yeah, enjoying the game. I know there's just going to be, in the very, very near future, there are games where I am just not going to be able to get a 6 at all. And what's worse is it'll be on the big legendary heroes going into, 2 goblins, taking wounds from the goblins. It's in my future, okay? We know that will happen to me, specifically, at some point, very soon. And how am I going to be able to deal with that? You just got it, right? It's part of the reason why you play these miniature games, is you just understand, yeah, there's definitely a component of luck to these games. And some games, the luck is a bigger factor than in others. And how willing are you to accept that from that particular game system? Man, I will say that so far I am extremely happy with my choice to play Rivendell. Um, it really is the playstyle I was looking for and the aesthetic. So I'm pretty stoked on that. Um, and I am, I did order more of the range so that I can try out newer configurations for myself. So that's fun. I think if I'm gonna play this more in public, I probably will, because I'm assuming at some point there will be a Rivendell battle box, so I probably will cave and start buying official models to run. No, I really like my faker printed boys. They are very cool looking. Yeah. One thing, I know we're trying to game tomorrow. One thing that kind of set me on alarm at the end of today's work days, we had a meeting with my boss and my boss's boss. And my boss's boss, we'll just say he's getting a little scatterbrained lately. He's kind of been on rapid fire with these meetings, and during this last meeting today, he's like, "Yeah, we have a meeting tomorrow about such and such," and I'm like, "No, we don't. I don't see that on my calendar." So I'm worried this dude's gonna wake up. You know, he's on the East Coast, so I'm worried he's gonna wake up and and then like 3 a.m. our time, I'm gonna get this meeting invite that's gonna wreck my Thursday. But we're gonna keep fingers crossed and make sure we don't get sabotaged because they've been working extremely hard to sabotage my schedule of late. All right. Yeah, all ASOG models kind of like, but I already own the original stuff. Yeah. I figure what I'll do if I really, really like the game and I want official minis, which I mean, that's pretty likely, um, is I'll go that route. I'll go with official minis, and then this printed army I'll sell or gift to somebody. It is really cool looking army, but yeah, the design is pretty different than the armor designs are pretty different than the GW / movie army design. Okay, so definitely got some autumn colors rocking here. Let's move on to the next color, which is gonna be we'll do the green, and this is a pretty simple, like a single highlight. Bought the official ones because I wanted to support Lord of the Rings, but the unofficial ones are a lot more dynamic looking. Yeah, there's some really, really great looking sculpts out there. Yeah, the event said it was okay. Yeah, and I think it's gonna be like that for the most part. Um, but I don't know. It's I just see myself wanting to go more official at some point. But who knows? Maybe I won't. Just keep my money. That could be right. I'm kind of okay with that too. All right. So we'll clean up on the green. That is super cool that Kevin is jumped into LVO. And I really am hoping he does well there. If they had LVO today, I would be amped up enough to play 2 days worth of Lord of the Rings. Who knows? Come January, right? I was like super amped on Batman for a big part of this year. Still one of my favorite games. Um, but it would be cool to play in, like, I don't really like the whole like play in a big giant tournament, 2 day official blah blah blah, that whole thing. But I do like the format for Lord of the Rings, the big tournament formats, and if I were to play in one, this I would strongly consider this game, right? Right, just like Guild Ball, I would play Guild Ball in a big ol' competitive tournament setting like that. This game is much more casual as far as I'm concerned, and that's also kind of enticing on its own. It's like, okay, you already know the atmosphere around this game is pretty casual anyway, and there have been people that have been playing this for years and years and years. So you get stomped, right? No worries. Did my army look cool when I put it down? Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. Also, I don't know if you saw, but I did a super winter theme on the GW Elron that I love. That I love. I like. Oh, I did the super winter theme on that GW Elron. I'm like, oh, I should go back and do all my guys in that theme now. It's just a slight variation from where the rest of my army is, but it's really really light snow, and it's so cool. And so that's another kind of motivator. It's like, okay, well, if I bought the GW ones, I would just follow this exact scheme for them, and that would be super cool. 2 days, Lord. Yeah, I could probably do 2 days. I think. Who knows? I'm pretty happy. Like I said, I'm pretty happy with my Rivendell choice, and I want to play more parts of that army. Specifically Gildor and his little fast mobile elves would be cool. I'm surprised they do today. I'm saying if it was today. That's how amped I am right now. I don't know. You talk to me in a month, probably probably more amped about something else at that point. Who knows? But yeah, if let's say if Batman goes tets up next year and I want to go to LVO, I hope they got Lord of the Rings because I'll play that. I would not play 2 days of Malifaux, which is really the only other game I would play at LVO. So, and if I don't know, I have to confirm with Sean if he's playing, if he wants to play the Malifaux doubles. And if he doesn't play, well, we were supposed to carpool out, right? I'm like, okay, Sean, if you want to go, you know, you can hitch a ride with me, but I'm probably driving down Thursday night, and gonna stay Friday and Saturday, and I'm either leaving Saturday at night or Sunday very early in the morning, like very early in the morning, to get out of there. Um, and if he doesn't play a game Friday, it may not be worth his while to be out there Friday, right? Unless he just plans on like chilling and running around the con all day. He might want to do that. Who knows? But if he doesn't want to do that and we can't carpool, well then maybe I'm buying an airplane ticket, right? So I have to find out from him like what he wants to do. All right. Okay, let's start working on the orange now. And this is gonna be pretty simple. We're going to use this color. It's called light rust actually, and I have like the misspelled one. Great color. Just what? I wonder when you're going to be around to pick these up, Nelson. Given the holiday schedule we have ahead. Just being able to get in games over the next couple of weeks may be a bit of a challenge if you are not free during the week. No light rush. I think I may have a little too much flow improver on this. 1 second. And we'll bring the detail back in the armor too. Just big batch process. Yeah, I'll be pretty excited as this army starts to fill out in terms of getting painted up. This is going to be a really cool army to see on the board. It's very, very rich theme. But yeah, it would be cool to do like what all the other YouTube channels are doing for Lord of the Rings and do an 8-player single elimination tournament with just all of our group basically. I think that would be super fun. Everybody play 750 points. If we only have, say, 7 players, we can have, you know, one player can elect to play 2 different armies in 2 different brackets. They just aren't allowed to play versus themselves. I think we can do 8 though. I think that would be pretty cool to do 8. And try to record. 8-player tournament with single elimination is what, 6 games? It's 8 players. It's 4, 5, 6. It's 7 games. It's seven games that you record. I think that's totally feasible. Right? Might take us a couple of months to do, but I think we should do it. Single elimination YouTube tournament. And I just want to be around to film the games and play. Somebody's going to have to help film, the games I play in until I'm eliminated. And we can use the veto system and everything for the scenarios. Would be cool. We what we need next is we need Jason to get together an army, because then that means that would be me, Chris, Nelson, Jake, Matt, Kevin, and then we would just need 2 more players. So Jason and 1 other player would be good enough. It might take us 6 months to do the whole thing, but it would be fun. Maybe we put together like a ring, an actual ring trophy. So you win a ring. I think that would be pretty cool. So we'd have to get whoever won, we'd have to get their ring size, and then get you know, we can get like a specially engraved ring for them. It wouldn't be that expensive because, like, especially if it's, it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be like gold or tungsten or something. It can just be like sterling silver, because it's more the trophy, and we could even have like sterling silver, but it's like, gold plated, so you could just wear it around your neck. I think that would be pretty sick. I think that would be fun if we did that. Kind of want to do that now. Probably the best part of that is it gives people an excuse to try to find games against people they may not normally get to game against or with, right? So, pretty cool. I think we should do it. I'll propose that we do it and set up a bracket. And we're moving along pretty well on this group of minis here. Ow! I have a cat. I have a little cat biting my feet as I paint. That's not good. Do that again, kitty, and you're out. He may be out anyways. No, do not chew on the cable. Don't do it, kitty. All right. Yeah, we're making pretty good ground on these. We're going to have to do a little highlight on the copper armor to make it look more like burnished gold. All right, so now I need like a deep steel or a gunmetal color. I thought I had one up here. Here's the paints. Hope it mixes up. But yeah, let me know if you guys would be interested in playing in something like that. I think it'd be fun. Especially if we all had different factions. That would be kind of a fun event for us. We need to get Bing to play. He has stuff. Should point out, Bing had more Lord of the Rings stuff at the start of this than I did. Than many of us did. And he hasn't picked it up yet. But he also does not. He also is not terribly interested in playing an army game, and I get that. Alright, let's see. Let me use a little bit more of a beat up brush to do this next part. Yeah. Please do not ruin my shoes. Alright. I have to get him out of here for a minute. There you go, little guy. Okay. You'd be down for Elim event? Cool. I think our group would be down for Elim events because you play your one game that once in a while, and then your one mandatory game, and then you can play whatever you want the rest of the time. Right? So we're going with this color is 6-shooter by what was the name of this color? These paints, they don't fill out very well at all. These Turbo Dork, yeah, they're not great. They really are kind of cruddy brush paints. You can see it's not very smooth. Let me try adding a flow improver because I don't like that. Jeez. Well, that kind of backfired. They should. Good news about this steel is, I'm going to highlight it up. Steel is just the undercoat. Oh boy. Yeah. Turbo Dork is kind of garbage brush paint. It's pretty bad. It's not even, it's not anywhere near where the AK paints are. But the AK paints don't have, they currently don't have a metallic this dark. But yeah, happy to get this part done. So there's probably a bit more infantry in Nelson's army to go, but at least this infantry is done. And he has a few ponies done. And we'll see what he wants to get done next. Some of these like pole arm things are very bent. See that? It's very crooked. Okay. All right. So yeah, that puts us in a pretty good spot. Really looks like it's probably just going to be one more session left on these. It's going to be getting the detail on the hold on. Great. What did I do with that? It's going to be getting the highlighting on the brass and the steel. Maybe doing a little wash on that armor to help bring some of the detail back. And then working with the base, getting the stuff on the base. Getting the base the right colors to match the other autumn stuff. Yo, where did it go? Where's my little tube? Usually it's right there. Did I stick it somewhere? I don't think I did. Okay. Well, I guess I'll just, because I want these metallics to dry fully before I pick up the next step here. So we're pretty much done for the evening. I'm just gonna have to find. Where did it go? No, maybe not. Not seeing anything. All right, let's just use a different cover, I guess. All right. Any other questions, comments before we call this an evening? Fairly productive. We just got a bunch more done on these. So we'll continue to roll through, and then they'll be ready in a little bit, and we can figure out what we're going to do next. I have an Isengard battle host on its way to me, and I also have a Deacon Blackfire stuff for BMG to paint. So anyways, I think that's where we're going to call it from here. So we'll call the stream here. I want to thank everyone for watching. Have a good night, guys. We'll catch you on the next one.